crisp evening as well, Jan, isn't it? Lovely handling condition with two sides who really want to play, but to play they've got to get some ball. I'm excited to see Jeremy Thrush play, just watching him in the warm-up one of the last 4 or 5 games. An outstanding All Black in that second row slot for Gloucester. And then Josh Navidi, the big names are obviously Sam Warburton and Nick Williams, but Navidi, an absolute mongrel on the floor.
It's pretty much a sold-out King's home tonight. The shed is packed, and the man who has to take charge of it all, what is likely to be a frenzied knockout game in Europe, is the Frenchman Pascal Gauzer. Both sides sit 8th in their respective leagues, so the route to the Champions Cup is likely to come through the playoff system. If you win this competition, you go straight into that. But the most important aspect is not that peripheral motivator, but the exciting prospect of winning a European trophy. Matthew Morgan quickly put under pressure, and under that pressure he gets a snap kick away pretty efficiently.
We saw Matthew Morgan counter-attack brilliantly well last week at the RDS against Leinster. Very little pressure put on him, able to bring back loose kicking. At that time, a lot of pressure put upon Matthew Morgan by Billy Twelvetrees. Very diminutive figure, Matthew Morgan. Expect some high kicks from Billy Burns to put him under pressure.
There's a lot of woodwork in Twelvetrees, and he was hit by the full 12 trunks. Now, they're not competing here at the line-out, so Gloucester, if they play this right, could force a penalty out of the opposition. They tried to stay as still as possible, so that was clever from both sides. Willie Heinz to Billy Burns. Billy Burns for Sharples to chase, and again Matthew Morgan is called into action. He was in exactly the right place, and again he was ice cool.
Well, Billy Burns didn't even wait for the first minute before putting the up and under straight on Matthew Morgan. But innocent tactic there by the Blues to combat Gloucester's driving line out. Nick Williams, one man in, but the one man hitting, not competing.
They did a couple of things from that line. They're going to go quick. I'll leave it back to you, Robbo.
Yeah, it's Marshall to Burns again. He's seen some space in that far corner. Once more, it's Matthew Morgan on the end of it. And again, he's well placed as Morgan. Now, he could really beat defenders. 45 defenders beaten in the Pro 12 this season from the Blues fullback. Here's Felice, 40 next month, but he can still play for an old fella. Look at that for a carry. Here's Christian Dacey, the top carrier for the Cardiff Blues in the league this season. Now Lloyd Williams, Gareth Anscombe, and here's Alex Cuthbert, whose work rate was really high last week in Dublin, had a top-class game. Now it's Navidi. In goes Lloyd Williams for Gareth Anscombe, signed for the Chiefs, now a Welsh international. Here's Ray Lilo and Blaine Scully, the USA captain who's played in a couple of World Cups, but he spilled the ball in his attempt to offload, and it's Savage, the former club captain, who carries for the Cherry and Whites. Gareth Anscombe has gone down injured, and it's Willie Heinz who finds Billy Burns, and he puts the ball into space, identified that they were short on defenders with Gareth Anscombe down on the turf. But Cardiff have worked really hard on the floor. They've turned it over, and this is where they hurt Leinster last week, on the counter-attack through people like Matthew Morgan. This needs to stay in play for Morgan. Willie Heinz does the sweeper's job at 9, the Gloucester captain.
Well, great play by Lee Lilo on the floor initially, but loose kicking, and you cannot afford to kick loose at Matthew Morgan. He's going to make the most of that, but a big hit by Ross Moriarty on Anscombe right in the midriff.
He's taken account, isn't he? And rightly so. The moment Gloucester looking for those big hits, that one again, Anscombe gets it away, hurts him physically, but it gives Cardiff the opportunity. Hibbard's jumped out the line, Mays jumped out the line, Sharples has jumped out the line. At the moment, the accuracy of the Gloucester press isn't there. They get caught up in front of the shed in a big cup game. They need to maintain their focus and their line, their togetherness in defence.
That hit by Moriarty on Gareth Anscombe, why did it remind me of the way England handled Jonathan Sexton?
Well, you target key players, and Gareth Anscombe is certainly, as a halfback, a key player.
But Rob, I'm not even going to get into that conversation.
No, you took your time before reacting to that, Will, to be honest.
He did grimace at me, though. I'll give you that.
No, that was gurning, actually.
It was gurning, wasn't it? Christian Dacey. Now, last week they lost 4 lineouts to their own throw, but Warburton takes that one well. Here is Anscombe now. gets support in his shoulder from Steve Shingler. Here's Nick Williams, good offload to Tau Felice, and they're continuing on from the way they played against Leinster. They're playing that high-tempo, fast offloading game that has caused teams problems this season, notably Munster and Cork, who they beat comfortably playing this style. And these weather conditions will certainly suit the way Cardiff like to play. It's their template. Off goes Nick Williams with a big carry, beginning to find some form after injury, the former Ulster number 8. And here is Lloyd Williams now. Anscombe inside. Here's Ray Lilo, the offloader extraordinaire. And Gloucester trying to slow that ball down there. Here is Lloyd Williams, and it's Alex Cuthbert. Cuthbert with all that power from over 16 stones of Welsh international and Test Lion, and Cardiff capitalise on their excellent start.
Well, outstanding pace in the game, quick play of the ball. They're winning the collisions, winning the quality of the ball for Lloyd Williams to scrum off, for that much easier. Nick Williams, very evident, a couple of big carries. Big pass here. They missed the first ball carrier, potential ball carrier, Gethin Jenkins. Got to the second man, Nick Williams, which meant he crossed the gain line with some ease. Good composure in the 22, so important. Plenty of guys there ready to take the next wave on, and brilliantly finished by Cuthbert, who, as he rightly said, had an excellent game last week at the RDS.
What you're talking about, yeah, in terms of the Cardiff Blues winning the contact, it's critical because Gloucester are not committing to the ruck. Gloucester are spreading. They're making the tackles and spreading, trying to keep all their men on their feet in order to cover the Cardiff Blues handling and pace and width across the field. The problem is, yeah, and they're losing the contacts, which means Cardiff are going forward. They're getting quick rucks, and it means it doesn't matter how many men you've got on your feet. If you're static and going backwards, Cardiff have got the jump on you and absolutely deserved that first try.
Well, Gloucester have lost 5 times at Kingsholm this season, and Cardiff did win here on their previous visit, despite having Tom James sent off in a Heineken Cup pool game 8 years ago. So Steve Shingler, the top scorer in the Pro 12 this season, with a high percentage in both competitions, gives Cardiff the perfect platform.
I've seen Conor Murray avoid the first potential ball carry quite often. It's that miss pass. That's the miss pass that draws defenders out of line, creates the gap in between, and Nick Williams punishes them by getting really quick ball, which allows them to attack the wider channel then.
His reverse angle against the grain opens up the gap between the two defenders. Really good support line for Felice. Got him in behind again.
And how good again has Cuthbert been there, even with that short, sharp carry, showing his intent. Lloyd Williams to Gareth Anscombe, and he had to get a lot of height on that because there was pressure being put on him by Willie Heinz, so he had to get it away from the Gloucester captain's clutches. Here is Heinz again to Tom Savage. Now Josh Honeck, preferred to John Afoa, who's back after injury and suspension.
You go back to look at that breakdown, and the referee blew up. How quickly the Blues descended on that ball. They have so many scavengers in the field. Navidi, Warburton, Dacey, Jenkins as well. It's as if at times the tactics Gloucester can employ is not compete to the breakdown. Just as you said earlier on, Will, go back, not bother resourcing it, go back and form an extra defensive line rather than compete to the breakdown.
Whereas Cardiff seem much keener to get a good defensive press, go forward and go hit that breakdown, deny the home side any real quality of possession and keep the ball away from Sharples and May.
Now the Cardiff scrummage struggled last week against Leinster. They've 2 new props today in Gethin Jenkins and Tau Felice. Perikashvili actually went into that game at tight head for the Blues carrying an injury, which certainly didn't help things. He went off after 20 minutes, but what a difference potentially might Jenkins and Felice make out there. They're picked, it seems, to do a job.
Well, Gethin Jenkins will certainly bring an ability, an engine, go around the field. Great at the breakdown. Really is exceptional in that aspect of the game. Will put a lot of hits in, put a lot of tackles. His work rate, that's what he's going to bring. And with the sort of high press that Cardiff Blues are going to employ, he's going to be key. And certainly a lot of sides will struggle in the scrum against Leinster. They have a formidable scrum.
Gethin Jenkins was captain in 2010 in the Challenge Cup final when the Cardiff Blues beat Toulon down in Marseille.
I love at the previous scrum as well when Gethin came up. He just had a look at the touch judge and gurned a little bit at him to say, just have a keep an eye on Honeck. And when you've got 129 caps behind you and you're a small little assistant referee and Jenkins looks at you, you sort of get pressure. It's all this sort of mind games going on the whole time in this front row.
There's also the battle of the man buns between Christian Dacey and Richard Hibbert out there as well. Dacey in the Welsh squad these days. Richard Hibbert, who's actually the man in possession of the Lions Test jersey, deposed.
I wouldn't choose a man bun, but I wouldn't mind the option.
They both have classic man buns. The stunning blonde that is Richard Hibbert. Here's Hines, and Billy 12-3's really flat and hard onto that ball. He's a big boy. Here's Willie Hines for Billy Burns. Thinks he sees a space. And again, Cardiff not committing to that breakdown, withdrawing from it, and then picking their moment to compete. Here is Hines. Up quickly in defence. The Cardiff line speed last week was really rapid. Billy Burns once more. This time it's Tom Marshall, the New Zealander who was signed from the Chiefs. Sinbin last week. Here's Burns, carried on by Jacob Rowan, who's had a really fine season. Matt Kvesic not getting too many sniffs at that 7 shirt. Ross Moriarty, fine Six Nations for him. Willie Hines to Burns now. Gethin Jenkins, he's trying to time his pincer movement, but the breakdown doesn't quite time it well enough, and off come Gloucester again through Marshall. Now it's Hines, both sides determined to keep the ball alive out there. Carried on by Ben Morgan, 31 caps for England. Here is Hibbert, tries to get outside Christian Dacey, makes the tackle. Here's Moriarty. Can Moriarty punch his way through Matthew Morgan? Well, that was no contest.
Well, they're looking at potentially might be a knock-on, but a brilliant pickup nonetheless. It's the one-handed pickup.
Cardiff are complaining about two things. The try's been given. First of all, they're complaining about the initial knock-on at the breakdown as he went to pick it up, and secondly, they're questioning whether he grounded the ball. A couple of things to look at, but the ref has moved on quickly, given it on the scoreboard.
Well, if there is doubt about it, Billy Burns better take this conversion very quickly.
He got in between. Now ball actually came off Christian Dacey, and a brilliant pickup.
In the Bath Breathe game earlier on today, Rhys Prieston was about to take a conversion whenever the referee stopped him to check something through the TMO. But once the conversion's taken, then the try must stand.
It's a super pickup. Jan's absolutely right. That come Hibbard throws it out the back door, and the young man Dacey, his foot's the foot that kicks it backwards into Moriarty's path. The rest is sheer class from Moriarty. The one-handed pickup and the power.
The pace for a big man onto that ball and the skill set of picking up at that pace was exceptional by Moore. That's a man full of confidence. You ooze confidence when you pick up the ball like that.
He's fast for a carnivorous mammal, that's for sure. Big boy Ross Moriarty, keeping Toby Falatau on the bench for long spells in the Six Nations. What a game he had against England, Moriarty, before he was called ashore.
I do feel as if this game is going to be punch and counter punch, because there's so much attacking talent and an attitude that every time you get hold of the ball you're going to try and score a try. But that's brilliant. Slow-mo doesn't do it justice at the speed he got onto that ball.
And he's in a tussle, isn't he, for a Lions ticket? He's right in there.
Christian Dacey then. 4 lineouts, failed to find their target last week in Dublin, but Hoeata, the All Black, takes it. There's a history of All Blacks in Cardiff Blues shirt, Jonah Lomu being one of those. Here is Gareth Anscombe, and in comes Blaine Scully, and Tom Marshall did well to recover after the initial pressure from the American international. Here's Lloyd Williams.
Well, there's an advantage there for offside, but brilliant kick, brilliant take by Scully, and that's a real competition. That's what you want to see, real competition under the high ball, 2 men competing for it.
I watched Scully warm up, doing all his yoga, contorting his body into different shapes. I felt uncomfortable just watching him, and his ability to flexible, to climb up through the back of the standing catcher is a real skill.
It's good to see two people can still compete for the ball in the air.
And just on that Moriarty comment about in a chance with a ticket, I'll come back to that here. Look at the eyes, never up the ball, knee up, elbows, points. Marshall's the standing defender. Brilliant from Scully.
Philippe, t'as revu? C'était bon?
Yeah, on the Moriarty discussion, I mean, you're looking at Warburton's going and Stander's going and Billy Vunipola will go. Then you're starting to talk about Omani has come late, having missed so much rugby. Moriarty.
O'Brien had a sound game today. Yeah. Talupe Falata was outstanding for Bath today. The competition.
You got young Watson from Scotland. It's
who also was man of the match. Was also man of the match last night. People coming to the boil at exactly the right time.
Steve Shingler kicking well this season. 22 points against Treviso in a Pro 12 game, and he's accurate once more. And once more, Gloucester nip ahead in a fixture that goes back, would you believe, to 1883. That was the first time these two Anglo-Welsh rivals met.
And you were here.
Alex Cuthbert, by the way, he was born in Gloucester until he dug the tunnel under the Severn Bridge to find his spiritual home.
Played for the same Harbury College team as Johnny May, the teammates.
There he is, Cuthbert, the try scorer for the Cardiff Blues. And again, he works hard to get himself into the right position to give Lloyd Williams an opportunity to get his clearing kick away here. The son of Brynmore Williams played 3 tests for the Lions and won 3 caps for Wales, but he was up against a certain G. Edwards.
Who's here this evening? Had a chat with him earlier.
Richard Hibbert. It's good line out work. Here's Willie Heinz, and again they go for Billy 12 trees. He's the dump truck in the midfield.
He's also targeting Gareth Anscombe whenever he's got a chance.
Heinz switching the play to 12 trees. Now Richard Hibbert gets away from the initial tackle from Steve Shingler. And he's looking good on the loose already, is Richard Hibbert. And now it's Charlie Sharples, scored a try last week against Bristol. He was just on the field as a blood replacement, wasn't on the field very long initially for May, but popped up to score. Willie Heinz, Billy Burns again. Here is Tom Savage, stopped on the gain line. Good tackle by Warburton. Then he gets over the ball. Has he done enough? No, he's cleared out quickly enough. Marshall now. Now Jeremy Thrush, who's a bit of a cult figure at Kingsholm. It's called the Thrush Crush. So the 12 times capped All Black has really settled in here. Now Charlie Sharples. It's his testimonial season. Next season, man with 81 tries for Gloucester, and Willie Heinz couldn't release the ball from the strong grasp, and the penalty is called his team's way.
Well, Richard Hibbert has put some punishing runs in so far, very evident in the opening quarter hour, but really punishing runs. But you've seen how keen the Blues are to make their first step tackles so that they can compete on the floor. They're keen to put Gloucester players, ball carriers on the ground so they can compete. But Gloucester are blessed with a lot of big ball carriers.
I think Hibbert's form over the past couple of months has been as good as it's been since he arrived at Gloucester. I really think he's picked up the baton, he's led from the front. Some of the big wins they picked up when they won away at Bristol, they beat Saracens. It's a very powerful ball carry, goes for the big hits. Occasionally they're a bit, not ill-timed, they're a little ill-judged in terms of leaving the line, but my goodness me, when he connects, the crowd lift. It's one of those iconic players for Gloucester.
And he has lost quite a bit of weight. He is trimmed down to make himself more mobile. I think one of the problems he still has, Jan, and we've spotted this in previous times, he did it against Bristol last week, he sometimes still chop tackles without using the arms fully.
When you talk back, we'll touch briefly on the game against Saracens. That's probably one of Gloucester's best performances in the season. It was a full-blooded affair. And often they can seem a little limp out there, but there was a full-blooded affair, high aggressive press, big ball carries as well. It was a terrific performance for them.
Billy Burns' brother Freddie is moving from the Leicester Tigers to Bath next season, so Billy could be up against Freddie in a big derby game come next season.
He's done very well since he's taken over the 10 slot. Very strong.
Backs himself.
Backs himself. He's a bit more of an orthodox player than Freddie is. I would say Freddie's a bit more mercurial, will try things. I think Billy Burns is far more orthodox, and I think Gloucester are enjoying the fact that they're having an orthodox 10.
James Hook is injured, although he's coming back to full fitness. He might get back into the side ahead of Billy Burns, but the way Burns has been playing, that is no guarantee. James Hook off to the Ospreys, or back to the Ospreys next season. Here's Willie Heinz with one of his 57 varieties of kick. Nick Williams underneath it, couldn't gather it, and Sam Warburton playing basketball, doing the Michael Jordan, and now it's Anscombe. Here is Lloyd Williams, finds Jared Hoiata. Lloyd Williams. Nick Williams is carrying game is improving as he regains his full fitness. He struggled with calf problems in his first season at Cardiff Blues. Great take in the air by Ben Morgan. Remember that horrific leg injury he suffered here against Saracens a couple of seasons back. It's taken him a long time to return to full form. Here's Morgan. He is really slight. He is really nippy. He rips and he shreds defences apart almost on his own on a regular basis. And he did it again there. Here is Shingler for Navidi. And that looked low, and that looked like it was out without the arms, but it looks like the tackler, Billy Burns, is the man who has come out worst and is in a little bit of trouble there.
I hope he's okay. That did not look good. But he saw again from Matthew Morgan what he offers from 15. You kick loosely, and that kick was just about 2 or 3 yards too long. And he runs onto the ball on those quick, lightning quick feet. He just makes defenders just plant their feet, and away he goes into the backfield. Looks for the support. Lloyd Williams did well to get in his shoulder. A good cover tackle by Twelvetrees prevents the try, but a blistering counter-attack from a man who toyed with Leinster last week.
You know, it's incredible, really. He's beaten almost 90 defenders across the 2 competitions this season.
Average kick chase. I mean, class from Morgan. When it's too long and you're not going to compete, Twelvetrees went ahead, gets ahead. Now you see the gap. The referee, the next man in is the tight head prop Honeck. He's 10-15 yards, no line, dog leg. He can then go and pick people off. So you've got to understand on a kick chase, if you can compete, fine, get out the line and go get up. If not, you've got to work with your nearest man. The kick chase is as fast and as effective as your slowest man in the line. You've got to look after him.
Think about counter-attacking. It used to be a luxury item. It's now a critical element in the modern game. Being able to transition from defence to attack, move the pressure, bring the ball back, and with the kicking infield, such a big part of the modern game, you have to be able to counter-attack. And it's not a given the players can in the modern game counter-attack. People are blinkered, don't quite understand where the gaps are. Matthew Morgan certainly does.
You watch all the teams warm up, they all have a segment of their warm-up in relation to counter, where they kick long and they either look from the catcher to shift it 2 passes infield, always get it in the fullback's hands, or dart back up a short side. Really well drilled section of the game now that's not done by accident in the old days, plotted and planned.
Well, Billy Burns is off for an HIA, so Mark Atkinson comes on. You'd imagine Billy Twelvetrees, who's very used to playing in the out half position, will slot into that slot while they take care of Billy Burns.
It's a good attacking position here, and you got Matthew Morgan standing directly behind Gareth Anscombe. You can see what side he goes, or we won't know.
Going to say offered them an opportunity, I think, up this left-hand side. Gloucester with 2 defenders. Those Anscombe and Morgan shoot up the left-hand side, makes it very difficult, even in a narrow channel, for Gloucester to have kept them out with a sort of 4-on-2 coming around the corner.
It is good to see teams now and with increased stability in the set piece, in the scrum now, that you are now looking to attack off scrums. For years it didn't happen because of the instability. Now teams are prepared now to have a go.
The Cardiff Blues won that famous game back here in 2009, the game when Tom James was sent off. Bradley Davis came off the bench to score what turned out to be the match-winning try. Before the game, he had taken 2 sleeping tablets thinking they were anti-inflammatories.
He had a lovely tip, though.
He scored and snored at the same time.
Slept like a baby all the way home.
So Steve Shingler to give Cardiff Blues the lead again, which he does, and it's an opportune moment for Jimmy Gemmell to get some views from the Cardiff Blues camp and Matt Sherratt.
Matt, from an attack coach perspective, must be a pretty pleased coach at the moment, first 20 minutes?
I am very pleased with how we've started. We put a big emphasis on the first 20 minutes, and Gloucester got very, very aggressive line speed. Hibbard would jump out the line, Moriarty would jump out the line, and we've managed to play around them pretty well. So I'm delighted with how we started. It's been a good reflection of how we've trained this week.
What's your brief on counter-attack? It seems to be, if it's on, go.
I'll let Matthew Morgan run, really. He's come on a lot this year. He runs at the right times now, so he does return the ball when the pitcher tells him to return the ball. But you've seen there, you kick loosely to him, and he's got a God-given talent. He didn't need a lot of coaching, to be honest.
Thanks, Matt. Good luck.
Yes, the human scythe that is Matthew Morgan. Here is Johnny May, Ross Moriarty scoring a try, and Cardiff know exactly what they're facing when Moriarty runs at them. But they've conceded the penalty here, not releasing the tackle player, and it's right underneath their own posts.
You gain 3 points on one side, and then you see the advantage straight away from the restart. Good pressure by Gloucester. Some big hits, Honeck in there really hard on Cuthbert. And Rowan in straight away to put pressure and nothing.
It's a great turnover.
Yeah.
As it goes out, Williams steps in from the outside, sees Moriarty and fancies it and goes hunting him. The problem is, as with all these things, there's absolutely nowhere Nick Williams can go, especially when 4 Gloucester lads come in and pin him in so he can't go anywhere to win the penalty. It's an aspect of the game that's ugly and that needs looking at, but players and teams understand they can win easy pens by getting players on the wrong side and just saying you are going nowhere.
Well, the ball goes somewhere, and it's between the posts again for Gloucester. As Jan says, it's very much tit for tat here, and well, it's really what we expected in this game. The winners go to La Rochelle in the semi-finals, where Gloucester have won in the past. It's a very tough place to win, the Marcel de Flandre, but a few seasons back they did win in the pool, though this season in the pool Gloucester were hammered there.
Yeah, it's a modern stadium, but it's developing quickly a great reputation. They've only drawn 2 games this year. They've won all the others in the top 14. Difficult place to go and play, but Edinburgh had a chance to beat them last night.
So the Gloucester skipper in that 9 shirt, in the absence of Greg Laidlaw, who told me before the game he's about 3 weeks away from fitness. The Scottish international Nick Williams carries again. A couple of big ball carriers in these respective back rows with Williams and Moriarty. Here is Tau Felice. No man has played more games for the Cardiff Blues than he, the Tongan. Now Gareth Anscombe again with that high cross kick. It's not the first time they've deployed that option in this game, and this time it's well taken. Aggressively challenged for in the air by Tom Marshall.
It's obviously a tactic Blues employing. They're kicking to compete. They're not giving a chance for the Gloucester back 3 to get into the game. They're kicking hard and chasing hard, but that was well taken under pressure.
Now this one is for Marshall, and maybe Sharples to chase, and it's Thrush who climbs to the ball and gathers the ball, but Pascal Gozer's whistle is gone because the flag is out below us here.
Ouais.
Sauf que le 14 bleu change sa course, il a volontairement percuté le 15 noir qui peut aller au ballon.
D'accord, donc pénalité où?
Pénalité ici.
Ok.
Alex Cuthbert, I think.
Appuyé en avant.
Yeah, Alex Cuthbert changed his direction on the way back to shepherd, I think is the term the teams use. Shepherd him away from the ball. The eagle-eyed assistant pinged him.
Yeah, high hanging box kick, good 3-4 seconds. just been taken out. Well, Sharple's been taken out.
But, I mean, the fascinating thing is Alex Cuthbert's on the far side of the
Yeah,
field.
that's-
The touch judge is saying 14.
Yeah, he did.
Poor old Alex Cuthbert's thinking, how's that me? I'm in a different postcode.
Finds the right postcode there. Hibbard, it was Tom Savage. Here's Willie Hines to Billy 12. 3 steps outside the challenge. Hands off Navini. And it's a crackerjack of a try by Tom Marshall. But it was created through the strength of Billy 12 in midfield again. He's been a real go-to man in that position tonight for Gloucester. They've used him as the battering ram, and this time finished off by the New Zealander.
Well, he's been the primary ball-carrying option in the back line for Gloucester all evening. Good early pass behind, good feet, got him outside Steve Shingler, and then early pass out wide, well finished by Marshall.
I feel sorry for Shingler, okay? Everyone's going to point out he's got a one-on-one tackle and he's missed him. Lilo on his outside has overread the play on his outside. Lilo's jumped, gone and thought he's read the play. That's opened the hole and invited 12Ts to be able to run aggressively. Yes, Shingler misses the tackle, but me in the midfield there, 13, Lilo has to take some responsibility for simply opening the kissing gate for Billy to run through.
You die and fall together, you do everything together.
It's one of those ones where Shingler would be able to see the number on the back of Lilo's shirt, and a 12, unless it's an out-and-out blitz, should never be able to see that.
Well, there's another Lion landing the conversion. Billy 12 trees called up in 2013 and converting the try that he very much set up.
Yeah, Lilo's just left him, and with it, there goes the invitation. Have a go, Billy, all yours. Lovely hands.
I still think Shingler should have made the tackle.
Oh, no, agreed. Agreed. But don't make decisions for attackers.
Taken by Johnny May, who celebrates his birthday today on April Fool's Day. Hines just popping the ball off, getting a bit of ball carrying duties out of the forwards.
Wait.
Oh, who's chasing this one? A lot of height on that again. It's very much contestable in the air. Here's George Earl, sent off in a pool game this season against Bath.
Yeah, that was a little bit unfair.
Yeah, it was supposed to be gouging. It did look unfair at the time. Now, here it is, Shingler caught a little bit high, but the referee was playing an advantage, and back we shall come.
As soon as one side scores, they give the option of points for the opposition straight away.
Just a little aside, I've been really impressed with the speed of Lloyd Williams getting the ball away from the breakdowns. The power and accuracy of his pass, you can see, he just made contact, Honeck. I think it's Honeck. Yeah, Honeck just goes there high, gets the next shot. No matter how low Dacey is, you can't throw that arm in there, and it's a fair penalty.
You do like to see scrum halves put some wits in their passing.
Again, watched him warm up, both him and Williams, who's on the bench. 25, 30-yard passes, fizzing at waist height. The basic skills of some of these modern players is outstanding.
Doesn't look like Billy Burns is going to be returning to the play, so Billy 12 trees will remain on the 10 shirt for part of his duties tonight. Midfield for other duties perhaps, and Mark Atkinson will stay on the field as well. Here's Christian Dacey. They've been working hard. Danny Wilson was telling me before the game on the set piece that malfunctioned last week, the scrum and that line out, changing their front row, keeping their hooker. Christian Dacey offers so much around the field. He's so good on the loose, and it's he who is in the wheelhouse now for this driving Cardiff Blues maul, and it's well set, and it's at pace too. Richard Hibbard comes in with a tackle on Dacey, so advantage here to the Blues. Anscombe tries to thread the ball through, but just fails to do so.
Really good driving line out, well organised. They reacted well to the opportunity. That's what we want to see from a driving line out. Understand where the weakness in the opposition defence is and exploited it. Went back down the blind and kept that, shifted the focus, Gloucester were only able to react by conceding another penalty. So the pressure builds, not only on Gloucester, but also on the referee here.
And there's, on the back of that, there's no real thought from Anscombe to consider taking 3 points. The modern sides, just it's not the mindset. It's we've won a line out driving pen, we'll go again. Brilliant from Warburton, great setup, great body angles, in low, get the shift. Savage tries to drop it, then in the end someone else comes in. 5 yards out now, real opportunity for Cardiff to level it.
Well, if they do the same thing again, they'll score, because that last maul rumbled 9 or 10 metres. It's taken by Warburton. So the Gloucester defence of this maul is going to have to be a lot more muscular and a lot more well organised. Tom Savage doing some good work in there, trying to rip that ball clear, but it's Dacey who gets the ball to floor.
Yeah, he quite there right there, Robbo. Savage really well, come through the middle.
Gareth Anscombe trying to clear out, get some help from Hoyata. Now Navidi to Warburton. Navidi just pumping round the corner. Can they draw in enough Gloucester defenders here to make it easier for the backside side, should they need them? Tau Felice. Still Cardiff Blues ball. Nick Williams, 20 stones, off he goes. Tom Savage is in there again, trying to get his hands on the ball, but it's Cardiff who pile drive again through Navidi. Lloyd Williams to Stephen Shingler, and he's caught and wrapped up by Billy Twelvetrees. No way through there. Lloyd Williams assessing the options. It's Alex Cuthbert, 1 try already. Brings a lot of size and muscularity to the wing. Now it's Nick Williams once more, and again it's Tom Savage who's working hard there in defence. Here's Christian Dacey. Do the Cardiff Blues have the red zone efficiency they require here? It's Ray Lilo who carries now. Lloyd Williams goes. Advantage to the Cardiff Blues, and now Hoyata, but there's been a knock forward in there. And the Cardiff Blues are not able to convert a try, but they might, if they wish, collect 3 points here.
Well, first of all, it's some really good work by Gloucester in defence. They're numbering up well, they're not overcommitting to the breakdown, they're getting reloading really quickly, and the Blues are finding great difficulty. Where they were making yards is because they had someone latching on the ball, whatever the ball carrier was, there's someone latching on really quickly. But you saw a great couple of head-to-heads between Warburton and Moriarty. There are a couple of big hits going in.
Super rugby from both sides of the ball. Gloucester, defensive integrity on their goal line, body angles. Hibbard's personal clash with Dacey, great tackle. Williams normally can make 6-12 inches, couple of feet in and around, got nothing. But the ball control from Cardiff allowed them to go through multi-phase and win that penalty. And we reset and we go back to the line out and we go again.
Well, the Cardiff Blues are absolutely determined to score a try here through their maul. George Earl, Navidi round the front. Good tackle, Bahonek had to be made, or Navidi was in. Lloyd Williams need a shovel to dig that one out.
Yeah, I just wonder if Hines is going to go to the bin.
Well, he went straight for the pocket. Pascal Gozer, there was no hesitation.
See, Hines initially.
Il a 3 minutes. He stay on area tackle.
Hines is lucky. Hines was the first one who killed it, who slowed it down, and then Honeck had a second nibble, and he was the last man in front of the ref to take it.
You'd rather lose a prop than your scrum half. You don't want to lose a scrum half. But again, 3 penalties in a row. 22, the pressure, it's an accumulation.
Well, this is now their 4th attempt to force the way over the line through this particular set piece, and now they'll be able to do it against 7 cherry and white Gloucester forwards. Josh Honeck, the Highlander, Super Rugby winner, is in the cooler for 10 minutes. Now Dacey's throwing has been really accurate on all previous attempts, and it is again. And it's George Earl, the Durban man, who takes it. The man they signed from the Scarlets, and it's Dacey once more who's controlling things. Now Lloyd Williams goes. Can't quite get past Atkinson. Cuthbert might be able to get through that defence. Billy Twelvetrees again does some good work in there, and it was critical work as well to stop this Cardiff Blues side. My goodness, they've gone through so many phases now, close to this Gloucester line. but still not able to cross it. Lloyd Williams to Toy Felice, 236th game today for the Blues. Now Gareth Anscombe, the delayed pass for Alex Cuthbert, and the snack squad of the Cardiff Blues have struck at last, but my goodness, they took their time about it.
Before we talk about the back move, I think we're going to reflect also on how well Felice did to place that ball back really well. Our generated quick balls, exactly what the backs needed. And Lloyd Williams attacks, gets around 12 trees, so makes good yardage. But he watched Felice initially before we end up with Cuthbert finishing. Really good composed play by the back line.
It's a sort of narrower version of the try he scored in the first test in Brisbane for the Lions in 2013. The short angle decoy, the ball in behind, and if you give Cuthbert time on the ball, he has his critics, he can make his errors, but if you can give a bloke who's 6'4", 5", who's got sprinter's pace, the ball early with half a yard, he takes those tries. That's his USP in and around those channels.
We have a mini epic unfolding here at Kingsholm.
Punch, counter punch. Is it always going to be the case into this game? But he held his depth. That's what Cuthbert did. He held his depth. So often people forcing the pass. Again, Felice did so well. Good leg drive. The place that ball allowed Lloyd Williams not to even have to look for the man outside him. Put speed in that ball, width in that ball, and then the angle and the depth and the pace in which Cuthbert hit that line made him now an impossible defender to nail him.
44 tries. Alex Cuthbert has now scored for the Cardiff Blues in his career. Taken by Jared Hoyata, 3 times an All Black. Here is Lloyd Williams to Christian Dacey, runs into the Ulsterman, Paddy McAllister, who's had his injury problems through his career. Plenty of time for Lloyd Williams to make his decision. That decision is to use that left peg, and finds a good touch. Ben Morgan couldn't keep the ball in play there.
Good distance up to the opposition, 10 metre from your own 22. Andrew leaves pressure and putting in a good position on the field. I love the pace in this game. I'm going to come to Kingsholm as well. An evening game, the lights are on, the nights are closing in. It's great to see a game like this.
Richard Hibbard, that didn't work out, did it, to Jacob Rowan? The error there as they tried to be smart. Pascal Gazer coming in quickly. There's clash on the floor.
A bit of breakdown in communication there, I think. Some frank exchange of views. Jacob Rowan just wasn't ready for that. Someone got that call wrong.
That was a massive confusion there. There is Jacob Rowan, yes. He's been exceptional this season. Matt Kvesic off to the Exeter Chiefs next season and has really struggled to get a starting slot in that 7 shirt this season.
I think Rowan's had an excellent season. I know Eddie Jones is here this evening. Next Leeds tight player, Jacob Rowan. But also there are rumours that Carl Ferns might be coming here or might not. You want to try and keep hold of him in the top 14. Both sides think they've got their man.
Jonah Four comes on. Josh Honeck is in the bin, of course. All Black and World Cup winner. Back from injury and suspension. The shed well filled here tonight. Did you know, did a survey recently, 86% of shed heads own sheep.
Do they? What publications do you read?
Ah, you fell for my April Fool!
Set. Stable.
Gotcha!
Stable.
That scrum collapsing, but the referee says play on. Nick Williams to Steve Shingler and Ray Lilo in midfield has been forming a decent partnership with Willis Halaholo, who's on the bench tonight, but Shingler preferred for the last couple of games, and Tom Marshall calls for the mark.
Yeah, well read by Marshall. Read that kick all the way, dropped back into position. Again, see full back, read the opposition outside half's eyes, where he's going, where he's aiming, and what his aim is.
Well, he hasn't found touch, and he's given the ball to the ultimate line breaker in this Cardiff Blues side,
No tackle complete.
Matthew Morgan. He's made over 1,800 metres in the two competitions before tonight. And here's a man who's carried relentlessly for the Cardiff Blues this season, and very well too, and that was an example of it. Here is Blaine Scully. Sharples comes in as one of the tacklers. Lloyd Williams and George Earl. So the Cardiff Blues enjoying a really productive spell here. Advantage to the Cardiff Blues. Gareth Anscombe goes for the drop-it goal. What a crisp and assured strike that was from Anscombe.
You can get a more pure strike than that. That was a thing of beauty. It's a lovely strike. Easy strike over the ball. Going back to the ball carry, you mentioned Christian Dacey. We talked about Richard Hibbard at the start of this game, how effective a ball carry he's had this evening. But how Dacey's running was excellent there. He ran on the ball nicely, picked a hole between two defenders, and had the pace and acceleration to get away from the would-be tacklers.
Well, Dacey's the top ball carrier this season for the Cardiff Blues in the bread and butter Guinness Pro 12 Championship. 12 trees with the restart. Remember, no Billy Burns, who's off with concussion. Oh, that looked high on Lloyd Williams by another Welshman, Ross Moriarty. Score of the first try for Gloucester. Here's Felice, a chance to move it here. Ray Lilo decided to run himself. There were plenty of blue shirts to his right. There still are. Here is Josh Navidi. Warburton's on the inside. Great tackle by Johnny May. That's when you needed one of your quickest players on the pitch to get back in defence and make the tackle that simply had to be made.
In a game that's just ebbed and flowed, that's typical of the actions we've seen so far in a high-octane first half. Punch, counter-punch, counter-attack, neither side able to rest for a moment because there is so much attacking talent. Hugely entertaining first half.
Old Gloucester favourite, Nicky Robinson, and a man who will be a Gloucester favourite the 25th of June here at Kingsholm is Tom Jones, who's appearing in concert. Jan Evans was telling me at half-time he will be in the front row throwing his knickers up onto the stage. But it was Gloucester who had their pants pulled down in that first half a couple of times by Alex Cuthbert. But then the responses were swift and accurate from Gloucester, and very much in this game, and set up, we think, for a real cracker of a second half.
They will be big pants, man, Robbo.
Bigger than they used to be, that's for sure.
He'll be singing the green, green grass of Kingsholm, will he?
Very good. Here's Navidi. Can the Blues hang on here and set themselves up for an away day against La Rochelle? Off goes Steve Shingler, who was stripped on the outside by the footwork of Billy Twelvetrees for one of those tries. Now Matthew Morgan, and after it are a group of forwards, so there wasn't a lot of pace on the chase. But they all get there eventually. Ben Morgan goes in to help clear out.
Really good identification there by Stephen Shingler. That there was lazy defence on the inside, so he tacked it.
Wait.
Willie Heinz. In comes George Earl with the attempted charge down. Matthew Morgan using the support inside of Gareth Anscombe again, identifying forwards ahead of him, Paddy McAllister and Jeremy Thrush. Here's Christian Dacey.
Nice bit of shepherding by Gethin Jenkins as well.
Lloyd Williams, Steve Shingler trying to make an impression at the start of this second half. Tao Felice, big contributor to that second Cuthbert try. Lloyd Williams for Nick Williams, caught on the gain line. Jonah Foa makes the tackle.
Release blue.
Steve Shingler got the space on the outside here. Cuthbert, can he get outside Sharples? He can. Alex Cuthbert is so strong, but it's a great tackle. It had to be to stop him. Might create an avenue of opportunity for Lloyd Williams, not quite. So it's Gareth Anscombe goes in at scrum half. George Earl latching on as Josh Navidi. Kicked away by Billy Twelvetrees. But there was an offside. The referee was playing an advantage, and it's Cardiff's advantage.
Well, he's in two great bits of attacking play by Shingler. First the run, secondly their identification where Gloucester were weak defensively, and he tacked that area and gave Cuthbert an opportunity to beat his opposite number. Really good play. And only some desperate kicking away of the ball by Billy Twelvetrees. Any more pressure being built on Gloucester, and this is an indication of the mindset of the Blues. This early in the second half, going for the corner, but he called for that ball, identified there was a 3-on-2, and that gave Cuthbert an opportunity to take on Sharples to the outside.
It was a great tackle in the end by Willie Heinz, the captain. Look at that, stopping 6 foot, what is he, 6'6", Alex Cuthbert, and about 16.5 stone. Christian Dacey, it's an overthrow this time, and in comes Sharples. Looks like he was caught high and late there, Sharples. Pascal Gazer was about 2 meters away, and he says there's nothing more than a penalty.
The Shed were baying there. Both went up in the air, but a loose line out there. That was a really good attacking position, the Blues, but Sharples won the race to the ball. So important for Gloucester.
Just talking to Danny Wilson before the game, the Cardiff Blues coach, he was saying it was important today to keep the ball away from Charlie Sharples and Johnny May in attacking situations. They've hardly touched it.
Well, that's one of the few times Charlie Sharples has touched it. That was Hoyata. A little bit lucky there because he didn't challenge for the ball, he just went within the shoulder. A little bit fortunate.
I think a penalty is probably fair enough.
Mariano Galot is on. He was a big contributor to Gloucester's Challenge Cup victory of 2 years ago when they beat Edinburgh at the Stoop in the final. Their second success in this competition, previously winning it in 2006. So the Argentinian line-out specialist is on. In comes Scully, great take. On the wing, has played full-back, and he's wrapped around the neck and hauled towards the touchline, and Scully, as he was being hauled by the epiglottis, was baying to the referee that he should intervene.
The touch judge has intervened.
Scully has looked really good under the high ball. Commanding presence. You want anybody going up for that ball to have conviction and commitment to it.
I think a black player takes number one, take the player around the neck. Penalty. Number one black. You take the player around the neck.
It's funny, in this game so far, just a penalty, but in this game so far, the officials, all French, have at times communicated in French and at times communicated in English.
But they are communicating, which is really important.
Yeah. At least they're talking.
But that'll be frustrating for Gloucester because they put real pressure on the Blues there. Good chase. And all of a sudden they find themselves back in their own 22 because of indiscipline that time by McAllister, because it wasn't going anywhere. He was going into touch. And you got some around the throat. In the modern game, you're going to be penalised.
It's Greg Laidlaw. He said it at half-time. The indiscipline of Gloucester at times is just getting Cardiff the release valves to get at the field. But you have to also just take a second to admire that touch kick. 60 yards with a 5-metre channel.
Warburton takes the line-out ball. Nick Williams shepherds the ball on to Josh Navidi. Gets through the first attempted tackle. Now it's Anscombe to Ray Lilo. Up comes Atkinson, big boy in midfield for Gloucester. A mighty lump. And the offload to Taufalise, but turnover ball. It's Ben Morgan. A better pass could have set Gloucester scampering there from deep, but it's Atkinson who puts the kick in, and back goes Matthew Morgan with Alex Cuthbert. Just defenders in front of him there. They're up quickly. Billy 12 Trees has done his work in attack and in defence for Gloucester today. Here goes Ray Lilo. Atkinson with the tackle.
No panic from Cuthbert there. Took out 2 defenders. Bought a bit of time for his teammates to get back.
And there's a man who's just beginning to show the signs of benefiting from game time as Nick Williams. And now Lloyd Williams. Good take by Ben Morgan. Soft hands under the high ball from the number 8. Billy 12-3, Shingler coming up on the outside, and that umbrella defensive formation to block the channel.
Well, the collector's item, a Johnny May run.
Here's a run from Sam Warburton. Oh, and the tackle again from Johnny May. There's been a couple of last-ditch attempts from the England winger to stop Cardiff producing on the front foot. They might produce here with Alex Cuthbert. One man to run through, and he stumbles at the critical moment.
Stay back.
Lloyd Williams, like Cardiff, very patiently went through a lot of phases in the first half. And at the end of it all, Cuthbert got his second try. Can they do the same again here? George Earl. So we saw them in the first 40 staying nice and composed, patient in their build-up, taking their time.
Yeah, they missed the first receiver again. They're always going a little bit wider.
Warburton shipping it on to Anscombe, and the first sign of mild panic in that attack from the Blues. Now it's Shingler to Matthew Morgan. He's going to stand somebody up here and beat them. He does it so well. Cross comes Sharples with a tackle on Scully. There's an advantage. Another offside against Gloucester. Their discipline is costing them. Last week against Bristol, Gloucester conceded 15 penalties, and it really is building here again.
Interesting to see this. Hibbard's taken a gamble, jumped out the line, but felt he waited until the scrum half passed the ball. It's another example of Hibbard wanting to impose himself on the games, and when it works well, he leads and people follow. Just when you're on the back foot, there's that absolute requirement to maintain your defensive integrity. How good is Warburton playing? Yeah, he's 2 or 3 yards offside. He's nibbled. The old rule, he might have been fine. The scrum half had his hands on the ball. The new rule, till the ball comes off the deck, you can't go anywhere. This is Warburton.
Indication of how the Blues, even though the scoreline's only a 3 points gap, as you mentioned, Will, at half-time, generally the Blues are dictating the pace of the game and the tempo of the game. You know, you look at Gloucester's gun players, they haven't been in the game. Ben Morgan, Charlie Sharples, Johnny May barely had a mention in the game. They've taken them out of the equation, and Gloucester are desperate to get these players involved, get them on the ball as often as they can, but it's being controlled by the Blues. The scoreline doesn't reflect that, and that'll be a worry for the Blues. They need the scoreline to reflect their control, but they'll be pleased how the game's unfolding.
Steve Shingler, 100% so far. Cardiff Blues not afraid on the road this season. 4 wins away from the Arms Park, almost a 5th against Leinster at the RDS last season. And Gloucester, well, they lost to a Welsh side in the quarter-finals here last season. It could happen again. That time it took a late Charlie Davis score to help the Dragons home, but Cardiff now building a lead.
Those penalties are hurting. You had a potential attacking line out one side of the field, a 60-metre kick from Anscombe, and another 3 points eventually from the Blues.
Felice slows down on the ball. Gloucester pour through, and it's another penalty. It's becoming incredible now. David Humphreys, before the game, had a chat with him, the director of rugby here, and he did talk about the discipline last week against Bristol, that it has been a real problem, and it's being replicated here. Yeah, the really interesting thing talking to Nicky Robinson at the half-time was the fact that he felt their exit strategies have been poor. However, Gloucester aren't making it difficult for them to exit poorly in the second half, because they just keep conceding penalties. So they're allowing Cardiff to get away with their weakness.
Well, it's becoming contagious.
9 penalties conceded.
Another outstanding kick to touch. That's a good 40 metres gained. That's 2 in a row now that Gareth Anscombe has gained significant yardage from his own 22 practically up to the opposition 22. Gloucester, 8 of those penalties they've conceded have been on their own half as well. So David Humphreys may well look on with some frustration.
Good challenge.
Warburton takes the ball on the line out, continuing his good game. In comes the driving charge from the Cardiff Blues pack, trying to set up decent ball to operate off, and it's Christian Dacey who carries again that critical extra metre, just bouncing off the shoulder of an attempted tackle from a Gloucester defender. Gareth Anscombe flat on the gain line is Nick Williams. Here is Anscombe to Shingler, Ray, Lilo. They've got to watch out for the offloads. You've got to go high and make sure he cannot release those arms. Gethin Jenkins goes to ground.
Stay.
Multiply decorated Gethin Jenkins, 129 caps and many Lions tests as well. Anscombe sets the ball for Lloyd Williams. Anscombe's kicking out of hand, as Jans identified, has been quite superb of late. Here is Willie Heinz.
Hold 12. It's good.
Matthew Morgan, if he gets a bit of space here, Tom Marshall's coming up quickly because they know what Matthew Morgan will try to do from situations like this. But if you can't trap him, he can put his side in all sorts of trouble, and that's the risk that is taken.
Well, he identified there. He thought there was an opportunity to go, but then he went touchline to touchline. You cannot face the touchline. Any chaser is gonna nail you. You ended up facing the touchline. You can't do that. If you don't turn the corner, you're in all sorts of trouble. And now he's created a lot of pressure on his teammates.
Two really poor errors. The first was a poor kick. Willie Hines sat deep in that bottom left-hand corner for Gloucester. A nothing kick into space, straight down Hines' throat. He has the easy option to go long. Then Morgan, you've got to make yourself room. You've got to take your medicine sometimes. And there, with the whole team in front of you, nowhere to go. I know you're mercurial. I know you back yourself. But there are occasions when you're going backwards and across the field where you just have to put it in row Z.
He does run sometimes as if someone's set fire to his feet. But this time Gloucester found some ice with those feet and negated the potential from deep there of Matthew Morgan.
Where he's most dangerous is when he squares up defenders and he faces towards the opposition goalpost. That's when he's his most dangerous. But this is a really good attacking position now for Gloucester.
That 2010 final victory in Marseille for the Cardiff Blues when they became the only Welsh side to win a European trophy. Sam Warburton, he was on the bench that day. Toulon's side that featured Sonny Bill Williams, Johnny Wilkinson. Tanu Manga was on the bench. That's how strong the Toulon squad was.
Charlie Sharple's just on the inside there of Billy 12 Trees.
Yes, all the Gloucester backs are lined up to the left of the set piece.
I love the slightly different way of looking at it. Jan's absolutely right. He's identified the attacking side. I've gone straight over to the defensive side. This is so difficult. They've got to leave one left. They've got to leave Scully left to the scrum, because otherwise Willie Hine just shoots up that short side. So you're short of one. Then what is Lloyd Williams doing at scrum half? Is he taking first man? It's so difficult. It's why Wales were brilliant scoring that try at Cardiff against England. Joseph and Farrell, top defenders. Liam Williams just arc through. 5 metres from your own line. Everyone needs to be on the same page, understanding what their role in the defensive pattern is.
Well, that scrum success rate you can see there, the Cardiff Blues scrummage struggling last week against Leinster, doesn't need to struggle here, or else the Cherry and Whites will have their platform. But that's strong from the Cardiff Blues. It's still solid for Gloucester, and Billy 12 Trees looks for Johnny May. Johnny May to score on his birthday on April Fool's Day, and there's nothing Falstaffian about that. The brain part of Johnny May staying wide, and that finishing prowess we all know so well.
Well, defence ended up being narrow because you had the blindside wing standing in, so everybody stepped in one, but that then isolated a diminutive full-back Matthew Morgan. They kicked their lovely kick under pressure. He's always up against it. There's no way Matthew Morgan's getting all the way out there, and even if he did, he's conceding a height disadvantage as well. Well executed, well thought out.
It really is sharp and clever, because 12 Trees is a right-footed kicker, so he's kicking across the front. It's a much harder side to kick from. Your foot's close to the opposition. You tend to drag those round a little bit, go on the money. Defensively, Cardiff, the defence coach will say, we've marked up, and if you're going to kick it, you've got to be accurate. Sometimes you have to say, you can't mark everything. That was sheer class from that man, 12 Trees.
He's had quite a game on both sides of the ball, Billy 12 Trees. Now taking those kicking responsibilities from Billy Burns and delivering.
That's when he really rubs someone's face in it. You're instrumentally creating the try, and then you nail a touchline conversion to cap it all.
You go back to the poor kick, in ball control Cardiff, poor from Morgan at the back, one chance. Gloucester tonight Cardiff have seemed to control the gain line in the contest. Gloucester have had 3 chances, pinged every single one of them.
Well, it continues like this. Billy 12-3s might put himself in line, or certainly on the short list for the Heineken Man of the Match. We shall see. Long way to go, but Gloucester now pulling themselves into a very narrow lead, as Will says. Conversion rate from them has been very high. In goes Matthew Morgan. He's been good in the air, but he dropped that one, and it's Jacob Rowan who pounces like a good open side, and Billy 12-3s puts in a kick for Sharples to chase here. Foot race with Scully. Scully needs the ball to bounce from here, and Charlie Sharples wrestles Scully to the ground.
Oh, well identified by Billy 12-3s. He has an exceptional couple of minutes.
He's looking like Dan Carter at the moment, as Billy 12-3. Oh, a charge down by Thrush, and didn't quite bounce. Billy 12 times capped All Black. Thomas Williams is on for the Blues. 2 tries last week on the counter. Oh, Ray Lilo again, a fortunate bounce for the Cardiff Blues. That's twice they've got away with it.
Gloucester certainly putting the squeeze on here.
Felice, Thomas Williams, here is Gareth Anscombe. Attempted charge down from Ben Morgan. Billy 12-3's now helping out in defence as well. He's having a golden spell for the Gloucester side here. Now Tom Marshall, and it's a forward pass. A forward pass. Billy 12-3's can't believe it. Looks across, remonstrating with his eyeballs at the touch judge on this side.
We could not be in a better line to see that, and I thought as he delivered it, that's a forward pass. The crowd won't like it, but Billy was bang on with us. The other thing that exaggerates it, as he goes back with the pass, it's forward. It's going to get done all day. That's going to get called all day. He didn't need to either. The call came from Marshall, early ball. The call came from May, stick it up in the air. He did neither. His first error.
Then we go back to, and he slotted into the outside half slope. Billy 12-3s, what he identifies. An aggressive space, a rush defence means there's space behind. He identified that. Scully did really well to hold on to the ball, actually. That's what we want from your 10. Lift your head up, scan. Where's the space? You attack the space. You either run or pass that space, or you put a kick behind. You find that grass and you turn defenders. Building pressure.
Well, Cardiff Blues have made a change in the front row, and there he is, number 18, Kieran Azirati, of Italian descent. Scott Andrews not selected, even though he's fit. And did you know that Azirati is a famous wrestling family? Berto Azirati, the former British champion, the Islington Hercules, and this young lad Kieran Azirati will have to be a Hercules himself in this last 23 minutes.
Yeah, there's a few changes in the back line as well for the Blues. Willis Holoholo's also come on. It looks as if Matthew Morgan's gone off.
With it, I think Anscombe will go to fullback and Shingler to 10.
Well, that's one of the biggest roars of the day from this packed Kingsholm, and a particularly loud roar, as always, from the Shed when a penalty has won at scrum time here.
Oh, the Shed can be such a catalyst for change, but they also want something off the side, and they certainly sensed a momentum shift over the last 5 minutes from Gloucester.
Talked about it at half-time. If you're only 3 points up when you've really controlled the game, you know the Shed will lift, the voices will come. Also feel it's marginal. There is a slope. Always felt playing here. I spoke to Greg Laidlaw about it. Gloucester feel in the second half they are playing down the hill.
Kieran Azirati had the strength of his neck muscles well tested there by Paddy McAllister. Galarza, and quickly away. Here's Willie Hines. Oh, there's a huge gap there. Oh, the inside ball you'd think would have put Atkinson in. They may still score on the outside though. And it's Marshall with a heartbreaking score for the Cardiff Blues, but a heartwarming score for all of those in Kingsholm and in the Shed.
Well, I honestly thought Willie Hines had blown an opportunity to score under the post there. Plenty of support on us often, but no panic. secured the next phase and attacked out wide, got behind the Blues defensive line, and Marshall finished once more. All came about from this.
Hines, I thought, drop it to Atkinson on the inside. He walks in, but fair play, recycled, great offload. Really, Chris Hines, Trinder fizzes it. Means Lilo has to fly to get on the outside, stretch the D, but there it is. Navidi's just got separated from Dacey at the back of the line out. Hines so quick round that corner.
Yeah, the speed of the action, that's what caught the defence byline. How quickly Hines got onto the ball and how he accelerated into that backfield. But no panic. Could have found Atkinson, didn't, but no panic. That's key in the opposition 22, composure.
All of the Gloucester tries off first phase. And again, just to emphasise what the boys were saying about Gloucester's incredible conversion rate in this game, taking pretty much every opportunity that's been presented, including the 2-pointers as well. 34 points to 26. There should be a smile on the face of Trevor Woodman, the Gloucester coach, talking to Jimmy Gemmell.
No such luck, Robbo. You can hear the momentum, Trevor. You can hear it building. Can you feel it from a coach's perspective? What does it mean to your team?
Well, look, it's important that we came out and in that first 20 minutes, we had to sort of discipline out, because the discipline count is right against us at the moment. We're up in double figures. But we knew that once we got good field position, that, you know, with a strong set piece, that we could cause Cardiff a few problems.
You've gone blow for blow with them. They came out fast, didn't they, in the first 20 minutes? You've had an hour now of a European quarter-final. We know how important this competition is to this club. What's the key to the next 20 minutes?
I think it's just keeping that pressure on, keeping the pressure on them, isn't it? It's not letting them back in the game. If you look at first half, both sides were probably guilty of once one team scored, the other team's coming back into it. So we just got to keep that momentum now, and each time that we get into their half, it's a positive outcome, rather than something good, something bad. And that's where we've probably been guilty in the past. We've got to now just push on and really put the pressure on them.
Thanks, Trevor. Good luck.
Yeah, they've been like puff adders, Gloucester, today. Every chance they've had to show their fangs, they've injected the venom.
Wow. I think control is a bit of anathema for both these sides, but it's been an absorbing game.
And Johnny May getting his hands on the ball. Willie Hines, who's been incredibly busy out there, almost gets to that one. And there's been a knock forward. He put the pressure on, and suddenly it is all beginning to unravel for the Blues.
Absolutely everything that could have gone wrong for the Cardiff Blues has in the past 5 or 6 minutes, but most of it self-inflicted in key moments. They've made some terrible decisions, their accuracy has been poor, and it's just allowed Gloucester to start strutting about the field, confident that everything they touch will turn to gold.
And all of a sudden Johnny May comes into play. Barely been a peripheral figure for the bulk of the game. In the last 10 minutes, scored a try, getting involved, and all of a sudden that's going to get the shed going. Hines has stepped up a gear. Again, Blues seem to be compounding one error with another one.
And we've seen over the course of the season with this Gloucester side, we talked about their inconsistency, but we absolutely talked about the fact that when they're hot, they are white hot. They really can pull teams apart, score 14 points super quickly.
One thing you'll not take away from Gloucester is their potency. They have an abundance of attacking options out there. Well, don't always make the most of it, because they don't always have control of a game, but when they do get on the front foot, they're a formidable foe.
Well, exactly. I mean, this season it has been inconsistent, but their red zone efficiency has actually been very high.
That's nice management speak there.
Point of difference. I hate that phrase. I just used it. Reset scrummage. Replacements in the front row. Corey Domachowski, beg your pardon, is on at loosehead. Matthew Rees as well. Domachowski from Church Village of Polish descent.
We stay in the same line.
One prop's 20, the other's 19. Yeah, this is you know, so educate young props, come to the King's Home on an European evening and take on an all-black and a British and Irish Lion in the front row.
Apologise if you picked up any bad language there on the referee's microphone.
I think both sides are aware how potentially significant this next couple of minutes are for both these sides.
Very similar with the Leinster-Wasps game. When there's an 8-point lead, it's that net score. Yes, Cardiff are a score in front, but if Gloucester are a score in front, but any points they can nick makes it a nail-biter, whereas Gloucester can take this away from Cardiff now.
Johnny May with a carry, Willie Heinz, and now Jeremy Thrush coming in on a slight angle, hard and direct. Warburton cannot affect the rip. Here is Hibbert, great pickup to another Welshman, Moriarty. How did he get that off his toes, Hibbert? Willie Heinz to Jeremy Thrush, and Willie Heinz has played a big role in this second half for Gloucester. Swings it away on that blind side. Ben Morgan carries. Azirati makes the tackle. Willie Heinz's front row forwards to his left. So you feel they'll have another driving motion into the heart of this Cardiff Blues defence. Willie Heinz again for Moriarty. Took two men to stop him there. He wasn't going to hand anybody off that time. Here's Twelvetrees again on the angle is Jacob Rowan. Running clever little angles, the forwards here as first receivers. Here's Atkinson. Oh, the little show from Atkinson. And that is an absolute killer blow for the Cherry and Whites.
Oh, the show and go. Just as soon as the defender plants his feet and you're an attacking player, you know you've got them. Really good footwork, but that pressure is now inexorable. Building on the Blues, on the back foot. Gloucester very much on the front foot.
Shows the depth in the squad that Gloucester are beginning to accumulate. Atkinson's a solid player, really solid player. Whenever he's had the opportunity to get into the first team, he's always delivered really well. Just shows I mean, this pickup from Hibbard, that take from Moriarty. When you're off form, you either knock the first one on or the second one hits Moriarty in the nose, doesn't even see it coming. Atkinson, the little show. Lilo goes to block. Williams grabs at thin air. Atkinson's gone, and the form that Twelvetrees is in, I expect this to sail bisecting the post.
Well, considering he's moved to the outside half, to the pivotal role outside half, he's controlling the game at the moment. The variety of his passing, his kicking, he really is pulling the strings.
If he's a golfer right now, the hole is as big as a bucket.
Twelvetrees, the man with the big stick, and lands another two, and it's metronomic now from Twelvetrees, and it's going to be so difficult now for the Cardiff Blues to find any way back into this game.
I mean, Billy Twelvetrees can sum up Cardiff in a sort of microcosm, in that when he's down and his form's not great, he can make silly errors, daft errors, poor offers. When he's up, wow, he can play, and he can show the form that got him picked for 22 England caps.
Yeah, well, he's certainly switched on tonight as Billy Twelvetrees. Remember, he's had to move to 10 after the early departure of Billy Burns with concussion. Heinz just using the big forwards again to make that half a metre. They're all set in the starting blocks, the forwards, to create a little space for Willie Heinz to have time to put in the kick. But there's an offside against Gloucester again. Frustrating lack of discipline there as the penalty count moves into double figures.
67 points already in this game. I think there's a few more still out there. The Blues sense the urgency in scoring some points, getting that scoreboard over, and I think Jacob Rowan is offside as well as Charlie Sharples there.
But Cardiff Blues were in a winning position about 20 seconds ago. That's how it feels anyway.
But this game has already shown you can score points very quickly in this game this evening. And so even though there's 15 points in it, you can close that gap very quickly.
Great athletic take by Sam Warburton in the line out there from Matthew Rees. Line out throw. 13 minutes ago, Cardiff were in the lead. Now they're 15 points adrift. Need more than two converted scores. Shingler for Anscombe. Okay, is this going to drop for Marshall? The pick up by Cuthbert, but he's fumbled it. And away goes Trinder. Support from Marshall. Oh, and a little knock forward from Atkinson in support. Well, that was close to the kind of thing we saw from the Cardiff Blues at Leinster last week. The assaults from deep on the counter-punch.
I know. After seeing the game unfold as we have, that's probably a blown opportunity for Gloucester. Even though it's difficult to take it, the way both these sides have been taking the chances, you'd expect Gloucester to have scored there, especially some of the tries they've scored, not only tonight but also in the Premiership this season. They took some blistering tries from deep.
Well, they scored a try last week, final play of the game, from their own dead ball line. Willie Hines set off.
81st minute.
And with Cardiff, that you've got to chase the game. You've got 10 minutes, you're 3 scores behind. You throw those passes that you wouldn't throw at the start of the game. And with that, if you keep pressing and you're confident on your inside shoulder that someone's covering you, you can go. It's just, isn't it a glorious mood to be in on a rugby field, yeah, when everything seems to be going well?
Yeah, things are going your way, they go your way. They don't, and you're trying desperately to try and shift that momentum.
Just a wee note. Just good to see Henry Trinder getting a run of games. He's been literally crippled by injuries in the last number of years. He was in the England spotlight about 4 or 5 years ago when he was picked for England against the Babas, but it's just been one horrific injury after another.
Oh, he has had an awful time with injuries, and great to see him back in the field. Quite right, Robbo. As Macaulay Cook comes on in the field.
Jarrah Hoyata goes off. Macaulay Cook, who's been exemplary in the line-out this season and around the field for the Cardiff Blues, both on the Cardiff ball and the opposition ball, so he will add something to this Cardiff Blues pack, that's for sure. Gloucester's only loss in the pool as Cardiff Blues get a penalty was against La Rochelle away when they shipped 40 points, and that's where they will be going next in the semi-finals if they can hang on here to their 15-point lead. So they need 2 converted tries plus something else. The Blues in the last 9 minutes. Thomas Williams, 2 tries last week, and he sets Warden up. Oh, is that a forward pass? It is a forward pass to Willis Halaholo, and well, that almost sums the game up in microcosm. In a situation like that, the Gloucester side have been taking all of those opportunities, and Cardiff simply weren't able to convert that one.
Was that the chance of the Blues to regain a little bit of momentum? And really good thinking from Thomas Williams. Cuthbert has been had a really strong showing. 2 tries carried well. Got his identification. The ball went behind, attacked the gap between Afoa and Hibbard, and away he went. Looked inside, and he's desperate to find Halaholo. Just the tackle knocked that ball forward out of the hands.
May made a similar tackle in the first half. When you've got so much pace, normally the attacker has a little bit of time there to look around, see who his support man is, slow up, open his hips up if he's going off his left hand, and pick the right pass or the kick. The thing about having someone in your backline with Johnny May's speed is you make the bust, and you've got to make that decision so much faster. You've got to make that snap call, when do I throw it, and that's what forces the errors.
You want your wings to work hard, both sides of the ball these days, and use that speed, not only for attacking purposes, but also defensively, as you said. Well, those tackles made. Blues have only made 51 tackles. Gloucester have to make over twice as many tackles. They've also missed a number more.
You have to be better. Crutch,
yeah, 26 tackles missed.
Stable and stable immediately.
Gloucester. Look,
it's clear message now.
Now as if they're going to go into the semi-finals again in 2015. Gloucester won this competition. They're on a hat-trick in terms of the Challenge Cup. 2006, 2015. Will it be 2017 again in the final at Murrayfield in Scotland? Bath going through earlier on today, beating Brive. The Ospreys, they play Stade Francais in the final quarter-final in Swansea tomorrow.
Bye! Set! Stay up! Stay up! Use now.
Ben Morgan.
Ooh,
didn't quite control that one, but Willie Hines switches play to 12 trees. And it's Mark Atkinson As I said, he's a big fella, 6'5", over 16 stones, has played out half.
He used all of those 16 stones to get himself out of trouble there.
So setting themselves up for an escape strategy. And it comes off, slightly off the outside of the boot from Henry Trinder, but away they do get.
It's always nice to have a left footer in the backfield once you can clear the lines. Well, this clock is ticking inexorably towards the 80-minute mark. And the Blues need a little bit of magic here. Because at the moment, Gloucester look at their firm control of this game.
Puffing hard is Nick Williams after his 72 minutes. And collectively, the Cardiff Blues are the side that are blowing hard now. With an almost impossible surfeit to make up in 7 minutes. Warburton starts the process with the line-out take. Here's Steve Shingler. Now Willis Halaholo, Super Rugby winner with the Hurricanes last season.
I think Warburton's been the Blues' primary outlet in the line-out.
Matthew Rees with the carry. Thomas Williams to Shingler playing at first receiver. Of course, has worn the 10 shirt a lot for the Blues and the Scarlets previously. Now George Earl battering away at the gain line. Tackle made by Paddy McAllister, still working hard the loose head. Now Willis Halaholo trying to keep that right arm free. May have thought about the offload. Thomas Williams inside to Blaine Scully. Could do with another 2 tries, and Thomas Williams. Hibbard comes out of the line really quickly. But he's deemed to be offside. So advantage here to Cardiff. The inside ball to Sean Bennett, scored a try at the RDS last week. One of those 3 counter-attacking tries that the Cardiff Blues came away with in the Irish capital. Warburton into Jeremy Thrush, tries to turn him. Thomas Williams, Shingler, and it's all got a little bit scruffy and behind the player, but Gazer was playing the advantage. Yet another penalty conceded in their own half by Gloucester. Looks like it's not going to cost them, though, in the long term.
Yeah, well, happy to concede penalties, man. Is stunting the flow of the Blues. They've been a little bit frantic out there, a little bit fractured. They have possession, but they hadn't got any sort of fluency in their attacking game. So Hibbard knew exactly what he was doing.
I always think he looks like one of those warriors from the Game of Thrones.
You a big fan of Game of Thrones? I know it's filmed up in your neck of the woods.
A lot of it's filmed in Northern Ireland, yes. Final series, all very gripping. I suspect we're not going to have quite as gripping a denouement to this game as we might have expected sort of midway through the second half when it was so tight. Cardiff Blues in the lead.
It's been a pulsating game, really ebbed and flowed. He flowed very much in Gloucester's direction in a latter part of this second half.
Yeah, big shift from Paddy McAllister. And it's Jan Thomas, long-serving Gloucester servant, over 125 games, who's on. Matthew Rees to George Earl. Into the final 5 minutes, and that maul being driven backwards by an impressive Gloucester surge. That's Scully. Now Thomas Williams has Macaulay Cook in support. Williams looks so sprightly against Leinster, and again the spot defence comes out through Henry Trinder, makes the hit. This time they manage to stay onside. Hasn't happened that often. Navidi carries. Thomas Williams collected by Corey Domachowski. Williams to Gareth Anscombe. Willis Halaholo inside to Ray Lilo.
12 trees once again defensively at the forefront.
As I to say yet again, he's been so good on both sides of the ball, Billy Twelvetrees, today. A really potent force as an attacker, but doing those defensive duties. Anscombe looks for the gap, looks for the offload. Billy Twelvetrees again coming in with a tackle. Thomas Williams for Shingler. Now Bennett hit really hard and driven back. Gloucester still putting those hits in. Shingler to Warburton, loses the ball in contact. And was there a boot coming in there? Certainly got a few boos reverberating around Kingsholm.
It's been a valiant show by the Blues, but Gloucester really have seized control of this game in the second half. They capitalised on a few errors from the Blues. Blues weren't quite as accurate as they were in the first half. There's been some good performances by some of the Blues. Dacey and Warburton are strong games. Cuthbert outstanding. But second half, Gloucester have wrested the initiative away from the Blues. They've been clinical, they've taken their chances. Players like Richard Hibbard been excellent today. But Billy Twelvetrees for me, and for World, has been the Heineken man of the match. He's controlled the game defensively. He's been a giant. He's dictated play of the game. He's kicked well from the hand. Distribution's been excellent. Goal kicking as well. Billy Twelvetrees is our Heineken man of the match. On the back of a terrific second half performance, in particular from Gloucester.
We haven't seen him tonight, but I was told before the game from a very reliable source that Eddie Jones is here tonight, but he must be hiding somewhere. Maybe he's got the hood up. He does that sometimes, Eddie. Billy Twelvetrees, of course, an English international of the past. And another penalty at scrum time for Gloucester. So the clock will now run away, and Cardiff Blues sadly will have to run away or drive away, in their case, across the Severn back to Wales with nothing.
With a 19 and 20-year-old prop is always going to be difficult back end of the season, but scrum back end of the game, the scrum really been a positive factor in the second half, in particular for Gloucester. And it's been a fun evening all around. We see some brilliant tries from country from both sides, counter-attacking ability. It has been punch and counter-punch. The game has definitely flown Gloucester's way in the second half. They've been on the front foot, very aggressive in the tackle area. They've commanded the set piece. It's gone really well and taken advantage of that.
Matuhu to Thrush. Slightly inaccurate slap. Hoovered up by Lewis Ludlow, a try scorer last week in that 20 jersey against Bristol. Callum Braley is on at scrum half for the impressive Willie Hines today.
Yeah, he's had a strong game. Was it Gloucester look ahead to that game in La Rochelle? La Rochelle looked very powerful up in Edinburgh, but they tailed off in the second half, and with a high tempo, high octane game that Gloucester play, that might well trouble them with the finishing talent they've got.
Might get another try here, Gloucester, if they can get their hands on this, and they have. Ben Morgan goes in there. Cardiff defence trying to reset itself, but there's space on the outside, and it's another one for Gloucester. And it's scored by Henry Purdy. And that is the try that sends the Shed again into raptures. And they really can truly celebrate a quite exceptional, thorough and rounded performance in this second half from their men.
Well, for 50 minutes, the Blues were able to quieten and dampen down the sort of attacking set out wide that Gloucester possessed. But as the game's worn on, the errors are creeping in the Blues game. Our potency out wide came more and more to the fore. And as Blues have weakened and tired, fatigue has set in, Gloucester looked to got stronger and stronger and stronger. Rode on by the Shed. They finished off with some style.
Well, that try from Henry Purdy is really a huge punctuation mark on this game.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and probably a little bit harsh on the Blues considering the way they played for the bulk of the game. This last 20 minutes has been all Gloucester. And a commanding, authoritative performance from Billy Twelvetrees, on with a hunger and an urgency in this second half, and the rest of his side being very physical. And they started to dominate most proceedings. Well, for some pretty poor errors of judgment from the Blues, which Gloucester have capitalised on.
Twelvetrees misses. His nickname is 36, 12 trees, or 36, you know the joke by now. 46 is the total for Gloucester, added to by this try from Purdy. Lovely floated pass, taking out those defenders.
Well, 72 points in the game this evening. We served a treat. You know, a big crowd here at Kingsholm. Another European evening.
Might get another one, Gloucester. In the final 10 seconds, they'll certainly have a crack at it. Ben Morgan in possession, in goes Warburton. Although they might not. No, the birthday boy can celebrate tonight with the largest slice of birthday cake he can get his hands on.